Last week, lovers everywhere celebrated Valentine's Day. I celebrated by burning a hole in my vibrator while listening to old Drake. Hot tip, if a AA battery dies, you can give it a quick lick and it'll jumpstart it like a car battery and you're back in business, baby. Oh, and please, do not lick a car battery. I'm not better than you because I licked a small battery in a pleasure pinch, but if you asked yourself, I wonder if that works with a car battery, don't try it. I'm simply giving you an inch. Don't take a mile. After I got busy with Drizzy, I met some of my college friends to get high and watch Titanic in theaters in 3D. A capitalistic cash grab that had millennials flocking to the theaters and flooding those seats like steerage. If you haven't seen Titanic, it's a great movie, but a terrible tragedy. For real. I guess I always looked at this movie like a love story and not the tragedy that it was. This boy, Jack Dawson, he's 17, and him and his friend Fabrizio win tickets to ride the Titanic, which is leaving in like a minute. He wins the tickets and the bitch is almost done boarding. I understand his panic in that moment because I almost missed a Carnival Cruise reboard in St. Martin. I was drinking a bucket of Caribs and looking for authentic tree-grown coconuts, okay? I know stress. Everything a man can do, I can do drunk in flip-flops. I almost missed that boat. We also meet Rose, another 17-year-old, but Rose, unlike Jack, is loaded. Rose got that ship drip, napkin in her lap at tea time shit, but Rose hates her life. Bossy fiance named Cal, controlling mother, and she has to wear a corset all the time. So Rose tries to end her life by running to the top of the ship to jump. And here comes Jack Dawson, or as I like to call him, Little Jordan Belfort. And this kid has more swag than any 17-year-old I've ever encountered in my life. You won't catch this little charm goblin doing donuts at the beach parking lot while blasting Fall Out Boy. He convinces her not to jump, but as he's trying to help her off, she slips and almost falls, and she screams, and he saves her again, double whammy. But when he pulls her off to the other side of the boat, it looks like he's assaulting her when her band of merry men show up. They arrest him, interrogate him, but Rose collects herself in time to let them know, actually, he was saving me. He slipped. So they invite him to dine with the elite the next night. Right before the dinner, the next day, we meet a new character, the unsinkable Molly Brown, played by Kathy Bates, a.k.a. the baddest bitch on the ship, a.k.a. Molly Stay Winnin', a.k.a. Molly New Shmoney. Her husband struck oil, so she had all the fun personality quirks of a poor person, but all the money of a rich one. When I was growing up, I always wanted to be Rose, but now that I've lived a life, I'd want to be Molly New Shmoney Brown. She gives Jack a suit so he doesn't look like trash at dinner, and he shows up fresh to death. Of course, some unsavory comments are thrown Jack's way, but he lets it roll off his back. Jackie boy keeps it graceful. All the men dip out after dinner. They don't invite young Leah, which is okay, cause then he does the smoothest shit I ever did see. He writes her a note for her to meet him, then he palms it to her. How does this child without the internet and the Motown movement know how to be so smooth? Of course she goes to meet him. Who wouldn't? If a boy like him palmed me a note like that, we smashin'. Not right away. I'd weigh the P's and C's, but it would certainly make him jump the line. Then he takes her below deck to, and I quote, a real party. Fiddles playing, beers spilling, and first-class girls pounding pints. This club has it all. Then she balances herself on her toes for some real 1900s flirting. She has been racking her brain on how to impress Leo since he saved her life. Now here comes Cal's right-hand man. I don't know if this narc is his stepdad or something, but he follows Rose and Jack around and he reports everything back to Cal. He's a snitch. He snitches on our girl. So the next morning, bam, Cal pops Rose in her face at breakfast. Kind of makes you wonder, did she really want Jack Dawson? Or was she just tired of, I don't know, being engaged to an abuser? Motherfucking yikes. No wonder she wanted Jack to draw her like one of his French girls. Ugh, iconic. Rose was splayed out on the couch. The maturity that these two, need I remind you, 17-year-olds had while she was just naked in front of him and the sexual tension was already at 100. I know 32-year-olds that would have been busting nuts all over that canvas, okay? I know that picture had to be drawn so it could support the subplot line. We're not even going to get into that. But I just don't know how they weren't banging in that moment. It's a fictional story, of course, but watching that scene was like science fiction. Then Cal's snitch finds them and chases them all over the ship until they finally lose him and they end up backseat, windows up, inside one of the vehicles on the ship. Let's just say the Berg wasn't the only thing that hit. You know, that joke felt cheap to make, but I had to do it anyway. And I had to do it because until adulthood, I was insensitive to the severity of Titanic. I had seen Titanic dozens of times. I had it on 4 different bootleg VHSs. Anybody who owned the VHS of Titanic knows it was 2 VHSs, but if you had the bootleg, it was 4 VHSs. One of the tapes was mostly just audio and footage of the floor because anyone who's owned bootlegs knows there was a time when the ushers patrolled the movie theaters, making sure nobody was stealing movies with a camcorder. So sometimes the bootlegger would have to put the camera down in between their legs and film the floor, then just wait it out till the usher left the theater. My dad finally took me to see it in theaters, and the person selling us the ticket said, "I assure you, you're gonna want to come back. The movie only has 45 minutes left." But my dad, in fact, did not want to come back. So he insisted we went inside. We walked in, and the part we walked in on was the part when she's trying to wake Jack up in the ocean. He did. But I'm jumping ahead. Jack, our sweet Jack, who just raw dogged it all over the Atlantic, is now skipping around the boat with Rose just as the iceberg's hitting. The iceberg hitting the boat was preventable, by the way. The captain got called a pussy, essentially, so he sped up to make the papers. Big mistake. Huge. Rose and Jack now know that this is bad, but her fiance and the narc, they don't know anything about the iceberg hitting the ship, and they plant the heart of the ocean, aka the only thing that Rose was wearing when he drew her, in Jack's pocket. Probably worth a couple of Chipotle franchises by now if you're looking for a dollar amount to compare it to. Jack Dawson wouldn't steal anything but food, okay? He's basically Aladdin or a grown-up Oliver Twist. They lock Jack up, even though this isn't a priority. But Rose ain't having it. She finds Jack Dawson alone, locked up. He's attached to a pipe on the bottom floor of the boat while the boat is starting to go down. But the storyline cannot move forward in the way that we, the people, want it to move forward if Rose finds an axe, and in an attempt to save Jack Dawson, she chops his arm off. So instead, she finds an axe, takes 2 practice swings, and boom, little Leo was Frio. Then the movie takes a dark turn. And I mean dark. And I never really took that in before. 2,240 passengers and crew, and only 706 of them survived. That's roughly 32%. Getting these people off the ship was chaotic, it was classist, it was cold, and it was terrifying with panic everywhere. Has anyone ever been cut off aggressively in traffic? That's a descendant of a Titanic survivor. Has anyone ever elbowed you while trying to push their way to the front of a concert stage? And I'm not talking a gentle elbow, I mean aggressively trying to get to the front of the stage. That is a descendant of a Titanic survivor. Jump in the line at Six Flags, you already know. They didn't film the lifeboats. There was no order to the seating. People were turning on each other quick, fighting for their lives. I never took that in before. Rose and Jack end up in the ocean, the freezing cold ocean. She lays on a door and he knows it's a wrap. People always say he could have fit on that door, but I don't think so upon rewatch. It would have went under. Jack really gave his life for Rose. The lifeboats come back, finally, a little humanity for all the people who were fighting for their life in the ocean. Rose makes it. Jack doesn't. She'll never let go, she says, but then immediately lets go of his hand. And Rose starts her new life as Rose Dawson. Now, what did this movie teach us? It taught me that I would love to see the sequel. How did she even begin to start her new life? And did she start it as a poor person or a rich person? Did Rose Dawson grind it out? And the last thing it taught me is that life in America is kind of like living on the Titanic, a sinking ship full of the descendants of colonizers. Classic America. The only difference is, unlike the Titanic, There are enough lifeboats for everyone. We're just made to think there aren't.
Time for
Duh.
Rocket.
Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Party God Squad, hello. Did you have a good week? I hope it was as exciting for you as it was for me, like that time this week that I got a free scone at the coffee shop. Yes, that's right. I got a free scone for merely existing. I went to the coffee house this week, which is not something I normally do, but I just wanted to get out of the house and the weather was being so will she, won't she? It was a hot one. I wanted the vitamin D. So I left the comfort of my home and I went to a neighborhood coffee shop, and I did so with a 60% computer charge. I buy a matcha only to be told that there are no outlets in the coffee shop. To own a coffee shop in New York City that has no outlets is the most big dick energy I have ever heard of. The absolute audacity to look at all the artists passing through dead in their faces and say, "Oh no, babes, your computer's gonna die in here," faster than you can let the world know that you ordered an iced matcha with coconut milk, bitch. He gave me a free scone on my way out 2 hours later, though. I like to believe it was because of my vibe. I went to a karaoke bar on Friday, accidentally dressed 30 as fuck. I didn't mean to not have a change of clothes, but I was a little high when I left the house, so I forgot earrings and I forgot a change of clothes. So I was in slacks and a sweatshirt that had skeletons dancing on it. I didn't realize I was dressed 30 as fuck until I walked into the karaoke bar and I was like, oh no, I'm dressed in my 30s as fuck. I still sung What's Up by 4 Non-Blondes because I never not sing that song because it is my go-to karaoke song, but never say never. For example, the pop culture gods said that the Snooki Poof or the Snooki Bump, whatever you want to call it, was never coming back. But I got news for you folks. The Snooki Poof is back, baby. And I couldn't be happier. This was my going out in my 20s hair. This was my I'll dress at my face but keep the bottom half casual hair. This hair was my moment. So to hear the internet say that the poof is back, I'm rock hard. About 2 years ago, a 16-year-old said to me, "Miss Rocky, I like your Snooki Poof. It's so vintage." And I'll be honest with you, my ego never recovered from that. In fact, it was the last time I ever wore a Snooki Poof. I do like to give tips on this show, tips on how to do things, tips on how to make your life a little bit better, things I've learned along the way, but one thing I won't give you any tips on is how to perfect the perfect bump, the perfect poof. That is something a person must learn on their own, because you can tell a lot about a person by the size of their perfect poof. That brings us to Rocky's highest thoughts, my most stoned thoughts of the week. Number 1, there are people who are absolute experts in things. I'm talking geniuses on how to do certain things that aren't taught in school. And because of that, they'll never be doctors of that subject or craft. And that makes me sad. Number 2, do you think therapists ever think about their clients' friends or loved ones in a way where they're like, I know this person was toxic, but man, did they make these sessions way more interesting. Number 3, Uber One has come out with a very new, loud commercial. Some would even call it jarring if it's in the middle of your YouTube video, where pop stars who had huge hits in the 90s and the early 2000s are in a recording booth singing their song. The songs were all bangers. And this just goes to show even our favorite pop songs become the cool aunts and uncles. And number 4, prematophobia is the fear of wealth. I do not have that fear. My guest this week is comedian Reg Thomas. Reg's wild word was mother. Mother, 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 mother. A word that can have a different meaning to many people. And you're going to find out just where that story takes us today. I want to give a very special birthday shout out to my dear friends Meddy and Colin, both members of the Party God Squad, celebrating birthdays this week. Please go back and check out both of their Wild Night stories. The episodes were great. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can follow me at Wild Nights with Rocky on TikTok and Instagram, at Wild Nights Pod on Twitter. If you want to watch extended interviews with all of my guests, please subscribe on YouTube. You can support the show for $2 or $5 a month by joining my Patreon. A big thank you and a future thank you to everyone who's written and everyone who will write a review on Apple Podcasts. That really does make a difference. And now, please enjoy my Wild Nights conversation with Reg Thomas. Reg, welcome. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Yo, thank you very much for having me, Rocky. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And I just have to say, you're the second person in history, and I love it. I have a whole segment in my show dedicated to my highest thoughts of the week.
Okay.
You are the second guest in history to smoke during the podcast, and that just makes me so happy.
I feel like, I felt like this is a party podcast. We getting loose here.
Yes.
And, I am the host and founder of the comedy show Productively Stoned. So I said, let's bring the vibes together.
Let's bring the vibes together. And I want to talk to you all about Productively Stoned. But first and foremost, I want to say to you, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, Rocky.
We are.
Who's your Valentine?
My Valentine. Well, it's so funny because my little brother gave me these earrings last night. That was a surprise. Yeah. My roommate gave me this beautiful tea. I drink tea every day. He got me a beautiful tea mug on to go that's almost like a French press, but for tea.
Oh, yeah.
And then I have one more I'll tell you after. But who's your Valentine?
My Valentine is definitely my mom.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, shout out to your mom. And
the original Valentine.
The original Valentine. And I will tell you my last Valentine because I was trying to set it up nicely because she gave me a little Starbucks gift card this morning, is my mother as well. So it worked out.
Okay.
It worked out perfectly. So Reg's wild word was mother. So Reg, we're going to jump right into it. Give us your wild night story, mother.
Okay, so my wild night story, mother, begins back when I was an undergrad going to Brooklyn College.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to going to a CUNY school like Brooklyn College, it doesn't have it has a beautiful campus, but it doesn't have like on campus lifestyle, like a big campus, like in another,
Yes, and if I'm not mistaken, you had gone to Florida. You went to school in Florida first, and then
I went to college in Miami. Yes, I went to college.
Mm-hmm.
I went to college to an HBCU in Miami called Florida Memorial University. And so, coming to Brooklyn College was a great college, great school, but it just didn't have a campus the way like a traditional university would.
Yeah, and you got a little taste too first.
Yeah, exactly, because Miami was a party school. When I went to Florida Memorial University, that was a party school. So we heard that Pace University in Manhattan was having like their homecoming show, and Big Sean was. This is how you know I'm old. Big Sean was hot, so like oh, Big Sean's gonna be at Pace.
Yeah.
So we all like, all right, so like a bunch of college students, we're gonna go to Pace for the show. We're gonna go. I don't know, like I've been broke the entire time, so I don't know what made me think that I could just go to Pace and just like go to their concert. But we show up, we pile up. It's like about 6 of us in a Toyota Corolla.
And nobody goes to Pace?
Nobody goes to Pace. None of us go to Pace. We know people who go to Pace, but we don't go to Pace.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're like, all right, we're going to go to the show. We get there and like we like complete dub. Like they ask for IDs. They ask for all sorts of shit that we don't got.
Yeah.
So it's automatically like I'm talking about like we just took a ride to Manhattan. Like we're not getting into this party.
Yeah.
So it's me and my best friend at the time, Kevin. We're just hanging outside. We're like, damn, like what are we gonna do? We can't get inside this party. And out of nowhere, Kevin always was like, girls always love Kevin, but Kevin just never knew what to do with girls.
Okay.
Like girls would like, I remember just like girls would throw it at Kevin, and Kevin just, I don't know how to catch.
Yeah.
He just did. So just like true as ever, some girl in the line sees Kevin. She's like, oh my God, it's you. I think they like went out. They used to date back in junior high or something like that.
Oh, so he knew her from back in the day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now, she's like, well, if you guys can't get into the show, why don't you guys come with me and my homegirl? We're going to go to this comedy club. And ironically, that's my first time ever stepping into the Comedy Cellar. We walk over from Pace University talking, and we get to the Comedy Cellar, and I'm in there. And I remember laughing my ass off. I remember laughing real hard. And I think Andre 3000 was in there in the
What?
audience. Yeah. I think Andre 3000 was in there.
Wow.
If not Andre 3000, Pharrell. One of the two. It might have been Andre. It might have been Andre 3000.
I think you might
And
be the first person in history that ever confused Andre 3000 and Pharrell.
it was one of them. I remember thinking like, damn, these guys, this shit is hilarious. I just remember
Yes.
thinking, yeah, this shit was cool. And so like we leave, and by now we're just we go to a liquor store and we buy a bottle. No, I think I might have came with me with a bottle. And this is how you know we were real broke. We were drinking Georgie vodka.
Oh, I remember Georgie.
Georgie vodka,
yes.
for those that know, is just disgusting vodka that like it should be sold in a plastic bottle. It doesn't even need to be in glass.
Wait, Georgie is in glass? I thought it was plastic. It's glass?
It's glass. Like
wow.
the ones I used to see were always glass.
Oh my gosh.
And so we're drinking Georgie vodka and we are just walking around town, just talking, catching a breeze. And we eventually make it to the West Side Highway. I used to take, when I was in college, I would take dates to what's that neighborhood south of Manhattan next Battery Park City.
Oh yeah, right on the water.
I would always take, because they got like a nice movie theater over there, and like, there was a like sushi spot over there that was good.
Yeah.
So I knew the West Side Highway was nice. So I said, let's all just walk over to the West Side. We could just drink and just catch a vibe. We go over there. Eventually, the homegirl got tired and went home. So now it was just me, my homeboy, and the girl and his ex-girl. And we're just all talking, hanging, talking, just, I don't know what the hell we were talking about. We were just talking for a long ass time.
Right.
And then we're all three sitting on the bench talking. And then eventually I just realized that I'm just talking to myself. And I look over and they're making out. And I was like, oh shit. So I just, I just walk over. I just walk away.
Yeah.
I walk down. But I look back and I just see her head going up and down in Kevin's lap. And I'm like, fucking Kevin.
Right outside?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I'm like, all right, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
About 15 minutes past, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna walk over. I think they should be done by now. Yeah. I walk over. Kevin's like, man, no, I was hanging by myself. Kevin walks over to me. He goes, yo. I said, what happened? He goes, she passed out. I'm like, what do you mean she passed out? She goes, she's passed out. I was like, what the fuck you mean she's passed out? He goes, I don't know. She's just passed out. We go over there and yep, she's just passed out. And I'm like, like, trying to wake her up. Mm-hmm. We try to flag down. She's so drunk, she can't get up. So I'm like, I see the park rangers coming by. So I wave down the park ranger. I go, we need your help. Like, I'm like, she passed out. They're like, what happened? I'm like, we were here drinking, chilling. Mm-hmm. And now you like, she just, I don't know. So eventually she wakes up. You gotta go. We gotta take you to the hospital. Like, you passed out. And she goes, no, I can't pass out. My mother hates me. I was like, what? She goes, yeah, my mother loves her boyfriend more than me. And if she hears that I'm in the ambulance, she's gonna be mad at me. So I can't. We're like, but we can't just leave you like this. Yeah. So they call the ambulance, and so of course me and Kevin are like, well, we can't leave her. We ride in the ambulance with her.
Yeah, of course.
Ride in the ambulance with her, and she's having the only panic attack. Like, I'm talking about, this girl went from super horny to just. So like, first before the ambulance even comes, like we're just happy that she's awake. We're like, yo, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. I just,
Yeah.
And I go, all right, let's get you up. So we try to pick her up, and like, I guess somebody squeezed her stomach. She just let the fattest fart rip.
No, this girl is going through all the levels.
Right through it. I'm talking about like
yeah.
Me, Kevin, the park ranger, we were all like, whoa, like, are you okay?
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
She farted so hard, Kevin dropped her. She fell right back down. Boom. Had to pick her back up. Slow.
Oh my God.
She gets
probably
up.
Weighed a little less.
Yeah. She gets back up. Now we finally get the ambulance. And so now she's having a panic attack, and they're like, all right, so what you gotta do is you gotta count from 1 to 10 up, and then 10 then 1 back.
Okay.
And so she's like,
this is in the ambulance.
Yeah. And she's just going that. And me and Kevin are just looking at each other like, whole time I'm thinking we're being helpful. I'm like, all right, thank God we didn't ditch her. We're here to help her, make sure she's good. Yeah. Whole time I'm like, what if they just arrest us regardless? Like, what if?
Yeah. Because it's not a good look for you guys to have this girl pass out. It's probably late. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we were just like, we were terrified. So we go to the ambulance with her, we go to the emergency room with her, and you know, like they let us back to her, and she was just like, yeah, I don't know, I just was drunk. And then she her father shows up, and then like her father comes and picks her up or whatever, and like it was good, like it was no
Yeah.
conflict, or anything of that nature. And then me and Kevin are outside. I'm like, and it's like the sun's up by now. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Just I looked at Kevin and I said, yo, this all started with us in class saying we should go. I was like, Kevin was gonna go study, and I said we should go to Pace. I
Yeah.
said, and Kevin goes to me else, and he goes, I should have just studied. I'm like, yeah, you should have. And we and we were all cool. Me, him, and her, we all were cool. Well after undergrad, but I don't know. I guess we all just kind of fell. Like Kevin got married, and like now he's like a
Yeah.
doctor. He's a doctor, and like he's just like a married guy. And
Yeah.
old girl, she was a singer. I don't know whatever happened to her, but that was like a wild story. That's a wild story that I remember because, for one, um, that shit really could have went way worse.
It could have gone south. Yeah.
Especially seeing how that shit, like me and Kevin woke up and didn't even know about a Pace University party. Like that shit came to us as hearsay throughout the school day.
Yeah.
And it went from, oh, we're gonna go check out this Pace party to like, oh shit, like what the fuck was that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I do love that. First of all, that was very wild, especially because he was gonna start the night off studying. I do love that you maintained a nice relationship with her afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause
Well,
that,
the whole declaration of my mother hates me. We were like, well, we can't just leave her out here. Like
yeah.
she's out here doing bad.
Yeah, and you guys were real with her too. Like anybody could have been like, I'm washing my hands of this. This girl, we were having fun with her, but she took it to the next level. Like we didn't know she was this drunk, and you guys really stuck by her side. I'm sure that's
Nah,
what.
we like it really
Yeah.
like it didn't really feel like there was anything else to do but that. Like that's like that part of the story wasn't really something that we really thought much hard on.
Yeah.
We were just really concerned, like, damn, like what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I have a couple questions for you. Did you all go back to drinking Georgie vodka after that, or were you
I
like,
think
ah,
I think I stopped drinking vodka as a whole after
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think vodka got retired after that. I can't even tell you. Maybe the like I can't even remember the next time me and Kevin drank together. But I think it was for his birthday because he has a birthday that's like we're like December 30th or 31st or something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
So it's like the type of birthday where you would drink anyway.
Yeah, you got to celebrate.
Yeah, but like, man, and we took we had photos of us like throughout the whole night we were all drinking, so we're just all like taking photos of like just
Yeah.
because it was like 2010, so like it's really early in the social media, like
Oh, those are on a digital camera.
yeah, right, like those are like on that was like the original layout of Instagram type shit. So
Yeah. This is how old I am for my college concert. I didn't go to Pace, but I went to Adelphi, which I feel like a lot of people either transfer. We had a lot of people transfer from Adelphi to go to Pace or vice versa.
yeah,
But J. Cole performed as an opening act for either one year was Snoop Dogg and one year was Ludacris. So I don't remember which one he opened for.
that's a good
Um,
show.
oh, it was a great show, but he was so unknown. He was just starting out, and I remember thinking, like, this guy has got it. Like, this is it. He had just graduated from St. John, I think, a year or two before, anyway. So it was
Yeah,
great.
a lot of
Yeah,
people don't know that he spent a good time in New York getting on.
yeah. He was great. He was great, and he was just so young. He was so fun. He was just like such a star already. So he's the best. So we those college concerts, you really got a treat. If you could get into the college concerts, you really got a treat.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Because where was there ever a good college concert I ever got into? I heard Brooklyn College once had Fabulous, and I was like,
Oh,
where was the announcement for that? Well, like we would have went to that. Yeah,
FABOLOUS. That would be amazing.
colleges do have like. Now that you mention it, I have spent some time on YouTube looking up college homecoming concerts. And it's always great because, like, for instance, one time, like a year ago, Drake came out to Clark Atlanta,
Uh-huh.
which is another HBCU.
Uh-huh.
and like a Drake performance is major.
Yes, yes.
So like, and he's going, yeah, but their sound system wasn't prepared for what Drake do. So
Oh
like, I mean,
no.
like, so you can hear it. It doesn't sound bad, but you like,
Yeah.
you like,
It's not a Drake performance.
yeah. If this was you'd have really, you'd have really heard it. Yeah, you'd have felt the bait. You'd have felt it.
Yeah. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's too funny. Yeah, colleges, they really do get and for nothing too. It's like they're like $10 tickets. You just gotta wait in line early.
Well, they charge us a grip already to be there. Like,
Yes. I'm still paying. I'm still paying for the Ludacris and Snoop Dogg concerts I went to in college.
I think my friend Amanda went to Adelphi.
Oh, really?
Amanda Seals, she's a comedian.
One time she reposted me on Instagram and I told everyone I knew. I like tagged her in an Instagram story and she reposted me and it was the best day. I did not know she went to Adelphi. That is so. I'm gonna look into that.
I believe so. Like, don't quote me. I think she might have got her master's from there.
Wow. Yeah, she is so funny.
Adelphi's a SUNY.
I don't know. I think it was a private school. I don't know if can private schools be SUNYs.
No, there's
Then
so then what's the? I don't think so. I gotta figure it out. I think
we'll figure out. We'll do our other research on her, but she is so funny. Oh my God.
Yeah, but that story right there.
Yeah.
That was a wild story from when I was very young in my early 20s, and
I loved it. I'm
we
glad
were terrified. We were like,
yeah, that is terrifying. That is terrifying. But now you're doing big things.
Georgie vodka.
Georgie vodka. Yeah, I haven't drank that in a minute. I actually kind of retired from vodka too. I'll have it in a martini every once in a while, but I like tequila a lot better. Tequila is my drink for sure.
Tequila reposado, here's a
Yeah.
little to you.
Right
there.
You're drinking some right
It's
now?
right in front of me.
Reg, I knew I loved you. Here's mine. A free.
Yeah, that's what I'm drinking. Espolon.
Oh my God, we're so connected. This is great. Now I want to talk to you a little bit.
Espolon owes us a check.
Espolon, we're waiting. Now I want to.
This is Espolon right here.
We didn't even know we were going to be on the same wavelength like that, but this is great. I want you to talk to me a little bit about Productively Stoned. Tell everybody a little bit about what Productively Stoned is.
Productively Stoned is a comedy show produced by me and Jordan Rock sometimes. It's a show where we showcase like about 3 or 4 comedians that are real dope. But at the top of every show, we start off with a 20-minute smoke session with the audience. So it's BYOW. You bring your own weed. Sometimes we have a vendor there. Mm-hmm. You can pick up some flower there. 20 minutes, we smoke together, then we turn it off, no smoking, and then we have a comedy show. Because the whole purpose is just to let you be high at a comedy show. Because if you let them smoke too much, they're going to smoke themselves out, and then it's not the best.
You put a limit on it, which is smart.
Yeah.
And what made you start that? Yeah, that's not bad. And it's a little bonding experience. Like, I haven't heard about anybody doing a show like that. I don't know if they do that like kind of in LA at all, because it's been legal for much longer, but I love that a lot.
So what made us do that was for one, we started doing the show when at Karma Lounge in the Lower East Side, and we just needed a place to perform on Saturdays, and it was just started off as a monthly, and then after a year and a half of doing it at Karma Lounge, I kind of got bored and wanted to just start doing pop-ups, so I found different locations to throw it at, and then from there the pop-ups were real dope. So the first pop-up was at a mansion by the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Then I used to do it at the Soho Playhouse, which is a real beautiful theater. Yeah. I did it there for about 18 months. That was real dope. Then we had it at the Stand Comedy Club for about another year and a half. And outside of that, I would just find unique locations that I liked and I thought were cool and gave it like an underground vibe, like where you gotta find the show. So I've been doing that for about 9 years now. And that's my baby.
That's amazing. Now, do you ever have comedians reach out to you? Because obviously, if you're booking the shows, like that can be tough. That's a job in and of itself. Do you ever have comedians that are like, Reg, please, I gotta do this show. Let me on this show.
Yeah.
People want to be on it,
and I hate it.
Oh,
I hate it.
Why do you hate it? Why do you hate it?
Because man, a lot of people suck, and
I charge.
I charge people money to come to the show, and like I owe it to them to put the best comedians up there.
Yes. So you're saying that they're putting you in a kind of an interesting spot by asking to be a guest on the show.
Yeah, because it's like, man, like that.
You hear that, everybody? Let Reg ask you.
Because it just puts you in an awkward position. Like,
yeah.
Like let's say me and you, let's say you and someone do a show, right? And you know, their set was whatever. You weren't impressed with it, but like they didn't suck.
Yeah.
But you know, they had a set.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yo, can I come do your show? It's like, fam, we both was in that room together.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess what? I was there and I saw everything.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Why are you asking me that? I get so I usually get, if I have someone asking to be on the show, I'll have somebody asking me to be a guest, but for someone else. They'll be like, oh, you know, my friend does stand up. I think they would be a really great guest for your show. And then I always respond, I'm like, have you listened to the show? Have you listened to my podcast? And they're like, well, I definitely want to listen to it. And it's like, if you haven't even listened to it and you're just trying to get your friend on and put your friend on, like I that's just, tell me what your favorite episode is or what episode you listen to. I don't care, but don't hype somebody else up before you even listen to a piece, you know?
Now, with that being said, I completely agree with you. Like, don't give me no feedback unless you actually because I'm gonna test you now.
Yes,
like, tell me what were the last 3 episodes about, ho?
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, man, it's just like, don't do that because it just makes it awkward for me. It makes it awkward for everybody. And on top of that, it's just, I have to admit that I am a Russian judge sometimes, though, where it's like, hey, man, you gotta let people grow and people.
Yeah, of course.
You'd be surprised what a little confidence boost would do to someone when they get to do something that they really was hoping to do for a while. So
yeah,
it goes both ways. And like, with that being said, I do. It's just like, if it's someone I really don't think is funny, I'm just like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah. Now I want to also ask.
I've had people put me in awkward positions where I was like, they're like, but with that being said, it pays off for them because I've definitely cracked. There have definitely been times where like someone asked me enough time, I was like, fine, bro, just have the show.
Well, a closed mouth don't get fed. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm like, have the show, bro. It's your show.
Yeah, it's your show. Now, I want to ask you, 9 years doing the show. That's a huge accomplishment, especially for keeping a comedy show going in the city that long. People don't do that. I mean, you have a few shows that have obviously been running for a while, but that's a long time to keep a show going, make a name for it. Have you ever had someone in the audience that you were like, oh, that just made you really happy, like, this is my show and this person showed up and I didn't even know they knew about the show?
Earl Sweatshirt. Yeah.
Who's that?
He's a dope rapper. He's a dope rapper, and he popped up at the show a couple times, and we were like, Chris Rock popped up at the show one time.
Amazing.
He walked by because that was nuts when Chris Rock walked by. Those two right there.
Wow, that feels good, right?
Yeah, because like we knew Chris Rock knew about the show, but we were like kind of like he knows about it in passing, not like he gives a fuck. And so when he pulled up, we were like, what the hell?
Yeah. Did he get to do a spot? Did you let him do a spot or he just watched?
He was like, next time.
You hear that, Chris? You got to do a spot.
You got to come through, man.
He listens.
He does.
But that's really cool. And the fact that you had those two people come, people that you're like, I made this. If you build it, they will come. I made the show and they showed up. That just shows that anybody could show up.
I've had that moment a million times. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, anybody could show up, and that's you. That's your whole that's your whole platform. So that's incredible, Reg. I love to hear that. And I'm so happy to have found out about the show because I consider myself a very productive stoner. I love, you know what I mean?
You are productively stoned, Rocky.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to smoke after this. I've actually never interviewed anybody stoned. Maybe I've like taken a bong rip in the morning and then interviewed somebody like 6 hours later, but I've never been stoned interviewing someone. Just because I don't want to. I've done improv stoned before and it didn't behoove me.
Yeah.
No, it didn't work in my favor.
I'd have thought you'd have been killing it.
I think now I can do it stoned more, but when I was younger, you know how you have to in improv, you got to run across the stage, edit the scenes, make the next.
You gotta
one
be
go.
sharp, yeah.
I wasn't sharp, Reg. I was dull. I was dull.
You just busting your ass. You smoking
Yeah.
some good.
Yeah, so I kind of laid off that for a while just so I could be more present with it. But a dream of mine is to have a podcast studio eventually one day. Do the interview with the guest. If the guest wants to smoke, that is very welcome. And then have the way you have a smoke sesh at the beginning of your show. I would love to do a smoke sesh with my guest after the show. And whoever, if they brought somebody to the studio or things like that, or if I had people, that's a dream of mine.
Okay.
So we'll make that happen one day.
We got put. I'm down. I'm there.
You are there, Reg. Now, what else? Do you have anything else going on right now besides Productively Stoned that you want to plug or share, or your social media that you can share for everybody?
Yeah, you can check me out on Instagram, Reg Thomas, RegThomas. Twitter is Reg Thomas Tweets. That's my Twitter handle. Mm-hmm. Check me out on YouTube. I'm in Dana Beach this weekend coming up. I tour on the road with Chris Red and comedian CP and Amanda Seals. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man, I'm running around the city telling jokes. I'm running around the country telling jokes. Thank you so much, Rocky, for having me.
Oh, Reg.
This is a pleasure. You know, a good smoke sesh with you.
Yeah, the pleasure was all mine, Reg. I really, really, really appreciate you doing the show. You and I will link up in the city. I'm going to come to Productively Stoned and tell your mother I said Happy Valentine's Day, all right?
Absolutely. I'm going to do that. Thank you.
All right.
Tell your mother I said the same.
I sure will. All right, Reg. You and I will talk soon, all right?
All right, bye.
All right.